What's up, guys? This is Lesky. Today we're going to be looking at some of the new features coming to Pro Clubs in FIFA 23. A few days ago, EA released a Pro Clubs trailer showing off some of the new features coming to Pro Clubs in FIFA 23. So we're going to be reading and looking at these FIFA 23 pitch notes for Pro Clubs and Volta Football that they released around the same time the trailer came out. This is just a lot more reading. They have some videos in this article as well, which I think they took from that trailer that they released. If you haven't seen that trailer, you can go ahead and watch that. We're not going to watch it in this video because it basically covers everything and more in this article. So the first thing they go over is crossplay. I'm sure a lot of y'all already know that crossplay is not going to be in Pro Clubs at the launch of the game for FIFA 23. Richard Walsh, which is the game designer for Pro Clubs and Volta Football, says they share the desire to see crossplay in Pro Clubs and understand the frustrations for not seeing it included in the launch of FIFA 23. A lot of people are frustrated, even if you don't play that Pro Clubs that much. Everyone knows that crossplay should be in Pro Clubs. While we're excited with the first steps to bring new crossplay features to FIFA 23, we also recognize what crossplay functionality could mean to the Pro Clubs mode, with the potential for improving matchmaking, allowing friends from different platforms of the same generation to play together, which is a huge deal. Pro Clubs needs it more than any other game mode in FIFA. Ultimate Team 1v1 modes, they don't really need crossplay nearly as much as Pro Clubs. It'll help a lot with the matchmaking. You won't be playing the same teams over and over again. You can play other teams on different consoles. The leaderboards will be combined together because right now the leaderboards in Pro Clubs are all separated when it comes to the console and the version of the game you're playing on. So there's a bunch of different leaderboards for Pro Clubs. If it combine that, it'll make it more competitive, more people on the leaderboard, and just more interesting to see, in my opinion. And then they said it'll allow you to play with friends on different consoles, which is the obvious one. We should definitely be allowed to play Pro Clubs with friends that are on different consoles. It's FIFA 23. Crossplay has been a thing on a lot of different video games for a while now. I think Fortnite's had it for almost 5 or 6 years. EA even has it on Apex and Battlefield, and Apex has like 80 plus players, or I don't know, 60, 80 plus players in the game, and people on different consoles. So I don't know why it's such a struggle for them to figure out crossplay in Pro Clubs. I know they said it's difficult because there's multiple people in the game. It's not as simple as a 1v1 or 2v2, which I get, but I still think they could easily do it. I know their servers aren't the greatest, and like the connection might be a big problem when it comes to Pro Clubs crossplay, but I definitely feel like they can do it. And from what they're saying here, it looks like they're going to try and plan on bringing crossplay during the middle of the year in FIFA 23. That's my hope, at least. I really hope they do, because that could be big news for Pro Clubs. But that's pretty much it for crossplay. They're combining Pro Clubs and Volta together, which we'll get into more, I think, down this article. Play your way and grow your pro skill games and clubs. So we're going to watch this video. I believe it's like 30, 40 seconds.
You're into the lobby and you're waiting for that one last 2 or 3 people. And this time, FIFA 23 will give you something to do with your time. So we do want to encourage players to go and play skill games with their virtual pro inside the Pro Club system. Compete against your teammates for top spot on a Pro Club specific leaderboard, so you'll get bragging rights. And on top of that, we want to give you a player growth XP reward that will reset on a weekly cadence. We'll also be adding player growth XP as a reward to Volta matches, so you will be earning a contribution to your Pro Club's avatar's player progression XP as well. It's
Alright, so what it's basically saying there is you can actually level up your player by playing skill games and as well as playing Volta. Volta and Pro Clubs are combined, so you can actually play a Volta match to level up your Pro Clubs player, which is pretty cool. And I think it's like the same thing when it comes to cosmetics. You can buy like stuff in Volta that you can carry over to your Pro Clubs player, which is pretty nice. One thing that I think would be a great addition to Pro Clubs is not just the skill games like they have. I think that's a really good new feature that they've been missing for a long time and that I've been wanting. But I think they should add a free roam arena. I don't know, maybe they will, but they didn't mention anything about it. Like, you know how you can just go into the free roam kick around arena where you're just one-on-one versus a goalie? You should be able to do that. Like, one of the first buttons right when you get into Pro Clubs, just go to free roam arena and test out your build. Now you can do it in skill games, but it shouldn't just have to be skill games. You should be able to go into a free roam arena with your teammates, like one or two of your teammates. Y'all can learn skill moves together, maybe do like free kicks, just take shots and just mess around in the free roam. That would also be cool if you could do skill games with your teammates, like together. I know you can play against each other. They have that leaderboard. They've had that for a few years, but just not in pro clubs, obviously. But I would think that would be a nice little feature to add, as well as the skill games, which they're adding. The 66 total skill games, pretty cool. They have a weekly XP cap, which will reset every week, I believe is what they were saying. Don't want to read all this stuff. Don't want to make this a too long of a video. XP from Volta Football matches, match rating and leveling changes. So this is pretty important. Learning from the feedback we received regarding the player growth leveling system introduced in FIFA 22 Pro Clubs has taken 3 key pieces of feedback around the system. Making out your level required too much effort. The upgrade frequency felt slow. Perks were unlocked too slowly. So in order to fix that, what they did this year, amount of XP required to move from level to level has decreased. The amount of XP required to reach the maximum level has been decreased. The maximum level has been increased from 25 levels to 100. So now it's 100 levels to max instead of 25, but it'll be a lot faster to level up. It won't be nearly as much XP as this year. This year it was like an insane amount. It took me like almost like 500 games, and I had a pretty good match rating. If you had like a lower rating playing like a goalkeeper or like a defender that doesn't get as high of ratings, it could probably take you like 600, 700 games to get max this year, which is absolutely ridiculous. Players can earn a maximum of 185 skill points. That's nice. I haven't really seen the skill tree, so I don't really know how much that really is or how much stuff costs on the skill tree. But compared to this year we had 75 skill points to start out. They realized that was a problem. It wasn't enough, so they added more skill points, and I think that's kind of what messed up the leveling up system. If y'all have played Pro Clubs this year, you'll know level 10 is like one of the longest ones. It takes like 60, 80k XP, something absurd to get past level 10. So more skill points, and then all perks will be unlocked through the course of the first 25 levels. Beyond level 25, players will continue to unlock more perk slots and earn more skill points. So this is a kind of a nice new feature, I guess. You just have all the perks unlocked at level 25, even though you might not have all the perk slots. So you can just test out all the perks, and then once you get the third perk slot finally unlocked, which will be past level 25, don't know what level it will be, then you might have an idea on what perk you want to use for a certain build. I guess that's kind of cool. Some good changes that they have been trying to fix and are listening to community. So next we have shared season progress. I think we'll just watch this video straight up, see what it is.
Progression. We have an opportunity to have both social modes in the same space in the main menu.
So FUT for the longest time and Volta have had a season system that rotates through a 6-week cycle. This will be the first time that Pro Clubs players will be able to take advantage of that. Pro Clubs players will now be earning seasonal progression by playing Pro Clubs matches. They'll be able to head over to Volta where they can claim their rewards, make purchases with the Volta coins that they've earned, and then take their rewards back to Pro Clubs where they can equip them and wear them on the pitch.
All right, so there's going to be like seasons now in Pro Clubs, like probably every 30, 40 days. You can unlock new stuff for your players, I guess. You buy them with Volta coins, and you can put them on your Pro Clubs player. And again, it kind of is the same thing when it comes to like Pro Clubs and Volta are kind of joined together, and just that's another example. Pretty cool. Next is gameplay changes. So before reading anything, let's just watch the video.
So for 23, we have listened to a lot of that community feedback. There'll be a lot more levels, and not only that, the gaps between each level, the XP required to move from one to another will be shortened, so it'll be more frequent moments of excitement and more rewards. We're also looking to get perks into the hands of our players sooner. While you may only have one perk slot available to you at launch, We want to get you in and able to experiment and find out which one works for you best. Furthermore, into perks, we do have 4 new perks, 2 of which are defensive based. So there's a great new one called Chase Down, which is activated after a change of possession if you're retreating back toward your own goal, as well as an interceptor perk that'll activate whenever you're defending and the ball is in your proximity. You'll be able to make blocks and traps on opposition passes and shots more easily. We also have a chance creation perk that's light passes. It's a really interesting one. It's the only time that the perk actually takes effect on your teammates. It'll actually influence the ability of your teammates to trap and control your passes. So if you're playing driven passes into the box, that first touch, when you need it to be perfect, to be able to get it out of your feet and shoot, that'll be the perk for you, and you can dictate the play of your team. We also have a poacher perk. This will activate when players move inside the box, and it will boost all of those areas of finishing, volleys, heading, as well as your general finishing and shooting.
All right, so this is kind of just the new perks that they're bringing into the game, because they're going to keep the perk system that was new this year and just add onto it, really, and 4 new perks. So the first one was an attacking perk, Poacher. Increases your all-around finishing, boost of volleys, finishing, and heading accuracy when inside the box. This could honestly be decent. I think mostly just as a striker, if you don't want to go for a lot of shooting upgrades, like as a striker, especially a bigger striker, almost all your goals are going to be inside the box anyways. So you wouldn't have to waste as much skill points on like shooting, and you could upgrade the physical or the dribbling or passing more. It could be a decent perk. I'm not too sure though. We'll have to see. Because every time you're in the box, it just upgrades volleys, finishing, and heading. Like, I feel like that could be really good for a big target man striker, and I might give it a try. Chance creation, light passes. This one's interesting because it doesn't really affect your player. It just affects your teammates when you pass them the ball. They control the ball easier. Basically just increases their ball control, I'm guessing. Increases your teammates' ability to trap and control your passes. I don't know how good that'll be. Could be decent as like a center mid, attacking mid playmaker role. Especially when you're like doing those RBAs or R1Xs on PlayStation, the hard driven passes, sometimes those are difficult to control. Especially if your teammate has lower ball control, then that could be a decent perk. Defensive perks, these look really good. Interceptor increases your interceptions. That's nice. You don't have to waste skill points maybe on increasing the interceptions. You can just go for the interceptor perk. Disrupt your opposition's passes and shots when so it also helps for like blocking shots. That's pretty cool, I guess. Chase down, increase your pace when defending immediately following a loss of possession. The perk will deactivate after 40 in-game seconds. Holy crap, if you have not regained possession. 40 seconds is a pretty long time for FIFA. They might lower that, and some of these might change. Like, I remember last year, they showed some of the perks, and then some of, like, what they actually did change. I remember Ball Winner was supposed to, like, increase your jockey speed, but I think they took that away, thinking it was going to be too OP, so they just made it increasing the tackling only. So some of this might change once they play test it more, but that sounds really good for any position, especially like a center mid CDM or like a box-to-box midfielder, especially actually. You're going in the box, maybe your team loses it on the attack, and you have that perk just to sprint back, and it lasts for 40 seconds. That's kind of crazy. That I can predict that a lot of people will be using that perk unless they nerf it. Drop-ins. Drop-ins, faster paced, more engaging experience. Let's watch this video.
Yeah, we're looking to freshen up the drop-in experience this year. We want to bring in more kits, more stadiums. We want to be able to rotate through that visual experience.
More kits. So, that's legendary. I never thought they would add more kits.
On top of that, we do want to liven up the experience and create more moments of magic. So for this year, drop-ins will be 4-minute halves. We want to reduce that down so it's a faster experience, make every moment matter. And we also want to move to a
4-minute halves.
Extra time that won't proceed to penalties beyond that. We want to make it a quick experience. You get in, you score a magic goal and golden goal, and then you're back in the ecosystem, readying up to go again.
So that's pretty interesting. I like how the games are a bit quicker and that they're going to have the extra time golden goal. And then they'll finally have more jerseys. Last year, they added 2 different like jersey designs, but it's still just one home and one away. I remember previous years, they just had the 2 same kits for like the longest time. And then this year they actually changed the designs. But now in FIFA 23 Pro Clubs, they'll have multiple kits when it comes to drop-ins, which will change things up a bit. Post-match accolades, which are next. They have top performers. I guess that's kind of neat. Most saves, aerial battle winner, top scorer. It'll show all of our ratings. Can really expose some people and then show some people off, I guess. Top passer, top tackler, most intercepts. I guess it's top performers, so if you do bad, you might not show up there anyways. Volta Football mode updates. Right here, they're just talking about some updates to the arcade games in Volta. They've improved all of the 16 games we released last year, and as we already said, you'll be able to level up your Pro Clubs Pro as well as your Volta Pro by playing matches solo or with friends. And then they go in and show some of the new game modes. Dribble King, Obstacle Course, which actually looks kind of fun. Foot Golf, that's cool. Four Squares, Battle Buckets, Capture the Ball, new XL Stadiums. And now that like Pro Clubs and Volta are combined, I think a lot more people will actually play Volta Arcade and these mini games. Last year or this year in FIFA 22, I don't think a lot of people played it. They played it like once or twice and then stopped. So I think now combined with Pro Clubs, it'll make a huge difference for both of the modes and hopefully increase the Pro Clubs and Volta community, which I think is pretty unique. They definitely should have never been separated. They should have always been combined right when they came out with Volta. Extra large, small-sided stadium. I guess it's probably going to be the same amount of players still, like 5v5, just a little bigger. This comes with a few key changes. More space, bigger nets, higher, bouncier walls. Interesting. I would be down to try that out. And I think this is about the last thing, signature ability update. We've added the take flight signature ability. This is Volta. Enables you to rise above your opponent to win aerial balls or score spectacular bicycle kicks. Cool. We've also polished signature abilities to make them feel more powerful. You'll now see the opposition players ragdoll on super tackle and when hit by a booming shot. So I believe that covers all the new features coming to Pro Clubs in FIFA 23. It is not a lot. I do think they could add a lot more and just really improve Pro Clubs and get it to that high potential that it has. It can easily be better than Ultimate Team. Soccer, football, whatever you call it, is a team sport, and I feel like Pro Clubs resembles it the best. Everyone's controlling their own player. It requires a lot of communication and teamwork. While you're just playing like 1v1 FIFA, the majority of the time the AI is doing the work and then you're controlling like one player and then switching to another player. And I just feel like it's a lot more entertaining to play and watch Pro Clubs rather than just 1v1 FIFA. And I'll always feel like that. And I'll always say Pro Clubs is my favorite game mode in FIFA, which is why my channel is based on Pro Clubs and even some Volta videos. So I'm excited for Pro Clubs in FIFA 23. Hopefully it has a better start than FIFA 22 Pro Clubs. Pro Clubs this year just had a bunch of problems when it comes to the XP leveling up, which they never really fixed. Skill points, drop-in matchmaking errors, a bunch of stuff. Hopefully the drop-in matchmaking will work from the beginning of the year in FIFA 23, and same with Volta. I know they had a lot of matchmaking problems with Volta. I wasn't able to play like a Volta match for like the first 3 or 4 months because of the matchmaking issues. So hopefully that won't be a problem and we'll have a smoother start to Pro Clubs in FIFA 23. But that's going to do it for this video. Let me know y'all's opinions in the comments. Hit that like button on this video. Hit that subscribe button on my channel if you haven't already subbed. I'm going to be posting a lot more Pro Clubs builds and Pro Clubs content as FIFA 22 winds down, and definitely going to be posting a lot of videos over just FIFA in general, as well as Pro Clubs and Volta when FIFA 23 comes out. Y'all have a great rest of y'all's day, and peace out.